HDB just announced a mega launch of 14 new BTO projects this October. In total, there are around 8,500 flats spread across areas like Ang Mo Kio, Bedok, and even the brand new Bayshore estate. This is more than the number of flats launched in June, which came to just under 7,000 flats. In fact, when I first saw the 14 plots announced on the HDB website, I thought they were announced for the next 2 BTO launches. This is because usually HDB releases around 6 to 8 projects at a time, but apparently they are all for the October launches. Upon closer look, some of these projects have a very limited number of units. In fact, 8 projects have less than 500 units. One of the projects at Kallang even only has 270 units, which is kinda small. Only one BTO project at Jurong West qualifies as a mega project with over 1800 units. So, this might explain why there will be 14 projects launched because of the small to medium scale. But actually, that's not a bad thing. Small development in theory will mean that it should take faster time to build as well. Strategically, this is probably intentional so that the flats can be delivered faster. That's the common complaint that we often hear about BTO, right? That it takes a very long time to wait. A more cynical approach that I saw online speculated that having this many upcoming launches might have something to do with the election year. Well, I don't know, and let's not go there. I think whatever the reason is, it's good news for Singaporeans because hopefully this will help to ensure there's enough supply to meet the demands for more affordable public housing. But here's the plot twist. October launch is also when the new flat classification will take into effect. Instead of the previous mature versus non-mature labels, they will be using prime, plus, and standard to reflect the location's amenities and overall desirability. Why does it matter? Well, because prime and plus come with more restrictions such as a 10-year MOP, subsidy clawback upon resale, cannot rent out the whole flat even after MOP, etc. Your future potential buyers are also greatly reduced because there is an income ceiling for the future resale buyers. PR couples cannot buy because there has to be at least one Singaporean buyer, etc. All of these measures indirectly meant to tame down the resale price, so it's not so crazy. Whether it will work or not, who knows? But that's something that you need to think about. If you buy a plus or prime flat, it will be much tougher to get a windfall profit than before. The question is, out of these 14 sites, which project is categorized as what? Let's do some guessing games. Let's start with the 2 sites in Bedok. These are part of the much anticipated Bayshore flats. Both Bedok sites have over 700 units on each site. But looking at the map, Bedok Site 1 is actually better because it's closer to the water and East Coast Park, making it more likely for more units to have an ocean view. I think these two for sure plus category lah, because there were too many hints in the past communication about Bayshore. In terms of connectivity, there will be 2 MRT stations, so that's good. Facilities for healthcare, supermarket, preschool, etc. are also part of the plan. But I think the downside of being the early mover to this area is that you will need to endure the noise and dust for probably around 5 to 8 years as the area is being developed and new buildings popping out around you. There's actually a third site in Bedok, but it's not part of the Bayshore extension. Instead, it is located near the Kembangan MRT station. I checked the map and it seems like it's currently a soccer field or something. I'm guessing that this will be categorized as a plus as well, simply because it's literally next to the MRT station, and Kembangan/Bedok itself is a mature estate. Another telltale sign that this will be a plus project is because it doesn't have a 3-room or 5-room option. Based on past launches, typically the 3-room in PLH model doesn't get as much attention. This is because for most buyers, a 3-room is too small to accommodate family expansion. Project number 4 is located in Ang Mo Kio, next to the current Ang Mo Kio Library. I've passed this particular spot before and it's actually not really near the MRT station. A quick Google search confirmed my experience because it is more than 1 kilometer away. However, although it's not near the MRT station, I'm guessing that this launch will be another plus project as well. Why? Well, the area is mature, a lot of amenities, and a lot of school options as well. Again, another telltale sign, no 3-room or 5-room flats. That supports my theory that this one will be another plus project. But personally, I think this one is worth applying. Next up, we will have not 1, not 2, but 3 projects in the Kallang Whampoa area. Analysts said that these 3 projects most likely will either be prime or plus considering the location. But the one near the Lavender MRT most likely will be prime because it has the view of Marina Reservoir. There's some speculation that this project will be the one piloting for the open concept layout called the white flat. Basically, these flats will not have internal walls between the living room and bedroom spaces. This is probably suitable for young couples who don't have any kids yet or not planning to, or seniors. And I do agree that it's more environmentally friendly if you just don't build the walls in the first place if the owners intend to demolish it anyway, just to have an open concept. But it would be interesting to know what will be the cost implications for families who just wanted to have a conventional flat with walls. How much do they need to top up to get the walls? The other two Kallang projects are not exactly near any MRT station. You would need to take a feeder bus. But the property agents interviewed by the Straits Times still speculate that these will be considered at least a plus project or even prime. If I have to guess, it's probably going to be a prime because we don't have enough prime yet in this batch. Next, we have two sites at Sengkang also up for grabs. I think these two will be the ultimate test for us to learn how the government decides whether a project should be categorized as standard or plus. Why? Because these two sites are actually near LRT stations. Although LRTs are served by monorails aka small trains, but technically, it is still a train station, and the area already has schools, shopping malls, etc. So does that mean that these two projects will be considered as a plus? But Fernvale is so far away from the city center. My guess is that these two projects will be categorized as standard flats simply because, well, statistically, HDB cannot categorize every project as plus and prime, right? So we'll see. What I'm confident will be categorized as a standard flat is the Jurong West Mega Project. It will offer more than 1,800 units with different flat types. It's far from city center and it's also far from any MRT station. One unique selling point that I can think about this project is that some of the units will have a view of Jurong Lake. This would also probably be the more affordable option in the bunch. Another litmus test for the HDB is the Bukit Batok site. If we look at the map, currently it's not near any existing MRT station. However, there is a train station planned for the future. When the flat is completed, most likely the train station will be operational as well. So does that mean that this flat will be categorized as a plus? But it's Bukit Batok It's so far from the city center. Do they really want to slap this one with a 10-year MOP as well? My guess is this will be categorized as a standard flat. Okay, next, we have another project coming in the Geylang area next to Matar MRT station. I think this one will be a plus project. What's interesting is they only have either 4-room flat or community care apartment. Next, we have another project in the Woodlands area. It is within walking distance to Marsiling MRT station, which is a much better location than Marsiling Peak, which was just launched in June. My guess is this will be another plus project. Although Woodlands is very far from the city center, but this area has school options, shopping options near JB, and the area has been drawing a lot of interest in the past launches. So my vote is this will be a plus project. The last project is at Pasir, and I'm not quite sure how they will categorize this one. I mean, it is near Pasir MRT station and also near parks. I also understand that historically, east side typically has a high application rate. Objectively, I understand that there's a good chance this project will end up being a plus project, but I think mentally I'm still not prepared to hear that an HDB in Pasir will get the same strict restrictions as those in the Bayshore and Kallang area. I'm definitely still adjusting to this new classification. But anyway, let's recap. I'm like 70% confident with this, but I mean, who knows, right? I'm just some random YouTuber with a funny accent. I mean, what do I know? What will be interesting to know is whether this new classification can fulfill its promise, which is to make the flats more affordable for the typical Singaporean family. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!